Welcome to Financial Ginger. I'm your host, Jacob Johnson, and the point of this whole podcast is to help us make better money decisions. So I'm really excited today. I have Tanner Gappmayer here with me today. He is the co-founder of Summit Luxury Dwellings, a company focused on building high-quality accessory dwelling units, ADUs, to expand housing opportunities. With a background in mortgage lending, home warranties, and residential real estate, Tanner brings a well-rounded perspective to the housing industry. Few keynotes about his history: worked as a loan officer with First Colony Mortgage, generated over $3.2 million in sales, and earned the company's award for largest market share increase in 2024, which is awesome. I like First Colony Mortgage.
Appreciate it.
Today, Tanner's a licensed real estate agent with the Perry Group, and he received the top agent award in 2025 after closing $5.2 million in volume the previous year. Wow, that's exciting.
Appreciate it. Thanks, man.
Welcome to the podcast.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me out here, and I'm excited to talk about what I've got going on and some new projects. And it's kind of funny even hearing you read my bio. It's like, whoa, that's cool.
Wait, that's me?
Well, that's me. That's me. That's actually what I've done. So
that's cool. I like the Perry Group. I mean, not that this is what we were meaning to talk about, just like one quick comment, and like I just want to hear your thought on it.
Yeah.
I interviewed Savannah Romney. She was one of the first people I interviewed on my podcast. She's with the Perry Group. Actually, later today, I have Kelsey Jimenez coming in. She's also with the Perry Group.
Yeah.
I really like the agents I've seen from the Perry Group. Like, do they do something different, or is it just like they're more supportive?
You should reach out to Boo Maddox. He's the new president of the Perry Group. Talk to him a little bit about it. But what I'll say about the Perry Group is they're the number one team in the whole state of Utah. We are the number one. I guess I'm a part of the Perry Group. And I would say, even though the Perry Group is the number one team in the state of Utah, they're innovating more than any team in the state of Utah.
Gotcha.
And I think that's where the difference is Boo and the Perrys, and the whole team that they have backing them with Emily Martin, the COO, and things like that. All of the people that are on the Perry Group leadership team right now are trying to find new ways to make life better for real estate agents and bring more business, obviously, to real estate agents. So I think they figured it out. A lot of teams and brokerages are a me first mentality. And I think the Perry Group does a really, really good job of thinking and maybe even making decisions that aren't good for the Perry Group as a whole, but are good for the individual agents on the team. So I think that's where they've excelled. And I think that they'll continue to excel and be able to bring on more agents, and talent is just based on the fact that they're so agent focused.
Yeah. Well, if you want good talent, you got to have good. Cool. I just wanted to ask.
I appreciate you.
Boo Maddox.
Boo Maddox. I think you should reach out to him and talk to him a little bit about what he's got going on there. He just recently became the president of the Perry Group. He was the team lead for Utah County for a long time, and I was able to be there from the very beginning in Utah County, so it was fun to see it grow. Yeah,
that's awesome. That's cool. Okay. Well, I want to talk about your products you're working on. So one of the reasons I reached out, well, originally I was because you used to work with Ryan, who I had on the podcast recently. But this new ADU strategy that you're getting into, because I find it interesting, right? I've actually always liked the idea of tiny homes. Like, it's kind of this, I mean, I don't want to say it's a shiny object, right? But like, it's become more popular. Like, there's even TV shows they made about it, right? Like Tiny House and Tiny House Hunters and all these things like that. Where, you know, like I remember one episode where it was like a traveling nurse couple that were like married, and they ended up traveling all the time because they would go to different cities to like be in a newly opened hospital, or a hospital that suddenly had some downsizing and downsized too much. And they're like, oh crap, we need some temporary stuff, or whatever the reason was. And so they ended up moving around the country. They're like, oh, well, instead of having to Air BNB or whatever and pack over, like, we just want to build a house that we can tow on the back of our car
and just take it with us.
Yeah, they had like a 410 square foot, and it was 2 stories as well. Like, it had a second level.
Big homes,
yeah,
right?
But it was only 400 square feet, like, or 412. I don't know. I have to look at the episode, but it was just weird because it's like, oh yeah, they can just hook this up, and you know, obviously they have to find. But I'm like, this is really cool. And I've even joked with my wife. I'm like, oh, what if we bought some land like in Genola? Because like I have this goal. Weird goal to be like a farmer. Like I want to have like an acre garden. Yeah. And I want to have like a cow. Like I grew up with friends that do that sort of stuff.
You're talking to the right person, dude.
Yeah.
Like that's my dream, is to have an acre orchard and cows and raise chickens and have my family out there and teach my kids about living off the land. So you're talking to the right person. Yeah, and we've talked about that same thing of buy a tiny house.
Yeah.
Put it on a piece of land. And then save up too while you can build your permanent home that you're going to end up living in for a long time. So, and then you can use your tiny home as a detached ADU in the future after you've finished building your house. So
one of the things I'm really concerned concerned with that is cost. Because I know there's more than just buying the tiny home.
Yeah.
Right. Like once you get to the land, you have to worry about like, okay, how am I going to get utilities to it? How am I going to get water to it? Like, is it complicated, or is that like relatively straightforward and easy?
Super straightforward. So there's really two ways that you would do it. If you're doing a tiny home as a detached ADU, most cities will allow you to be able to pull utilities from the existing home. That's what like a detached building, an accessory building is usually pull the utilities from there. So you're pulling sewer from the lateral line or from the basement usually. And then you're pulling electrical from the house and water from the house. So our homes don't come with any gas connections, which makes it easier. You save a little bit of money on not having to run that gas line. But it's usually pulled from the house. And then sometimes the city will have you pull from under the road, but the utilities are already there, right?
That makes sense. Yeah, it's existing property.
Where it's a little bit harder is if you're on like recreational land out in the middle of nowhere and there's not like public utilities out there. But then you can still even do a septic tank, right?
Yeah.
And then you can even do a water tank as storage. And then a lot of people, these homes can be run off generators or solar, or also a lot of cities have electric out there.
Yeah, because I've seen some like old people that had old houses in unincorporated territory, right? Like there's one of my friends who has a place on the edge of Saratoga Springs where their family was out there in like the early 90s.
It's
when it was still
unincorporated Utah County out there,
right?
yeah.
They had a propane tank that was above ground, right? And so the propane man comes by every
refills
2 weeks or whatever and refills the tank and charges them for it, just like any other utility. Obviously, that's probably a little bit more expensive than electricity, but I mean.
So cost is really nice. This is where the cost is not super expensive, and a lot of people think it's more expensive than it is. So cost to run utility for like a detached ADU, the concrete, which is like a footing and foundation, this becomes real property. I don't think people understand that.
Yeah.
Our homes become real property. They're fixed to a foundation using Titan bolts through the steel frame into your concrete.
Nice. Okay.
So they're real properties.
They're not mobile homes.
No, and it's built like a normal home. So they're built to the International Residential Code, 2x6 exterior walls, insulation, sheetrock, siding, metal roofing. Like these are built like normal homes.
Are they built with standard 2x4s?
2x6s.
2x6s. Okay.
2x6
because
exteriors.
I know some mobile homes
are built with panels.
They're built with or they're built with this like smaller stick stuff that isn't two. It's like 1-bys.
Yeah.
And they're designed to deteriorate after 50 years
and everything like that. So,
but yours are.
These are built like a normal home. So 2x6 exterior walls, 2x4 interior walls, insulation, metal roofing, like everything that you think, LVP flooring, like they're built like a normal home would be, custom cabinets, smooth drywall. So that's what I like to emphasize. And so cost for that, they're fixed to a concrete foundation.
You're not getting a shed for 80 grand. You're getting an actual house,
actual home,
real property.
And so they're fixed to a footing and foundation. We do a full footing and foundation up to the code of every city, which your estimated cost is anywhere from like $6,000 to like $9,000.
So does your team help with the installation too?
We have general contractor partners that will do all the concrete and utility connections and things.
So that's what's annoying. I know a company out east that kind of does the same thing where it's like, hey, we build and ship manufactured homes, but then it's on you to figure it all out. They're like,
most companies are like that.
Yeah. And so that's one thing is it's more barriers to entry for someone that's like, I want to actually consider this.
And most people don't have the knowledge or really care to do it and go find their own general contractor. Yeah. And so we found a couple of great partners here in Utah.
They trust who you'll trust.
Doesn't matter if you're down in St. George or up to Logan, like we have somebody that we can refer you to, or you can bring your own general contractor partner. Like a lot of people are like, oh, my uncle's a general contractor and you can come help me do it.
Cool. So, but if you don't,
we got somebody. So your concrete is like anywhere from like $6,000 to $9,000. And then your utility connections are anywhere from actually on the low end, like $5,000 to like $6,000. So we tell a lot of people anywhere from $5,000 to maybe $18,000 for all the things that you have to do site prep wise to get the property ready if you want to do the full footing and foundation and utility connections. Wow. That being said, these homes are built on a 10-inch steel frame.
Oh, wow.
So like even if you end up doing like road base or gravel or something that's all leveled out, like these homes are built on a 10-inch steel frame, where most modular home manufacturers aren't doing something like that. And so we've got the homes to a point where shipping and everything that we do with the homes of moving them, like we don't have any cracking on the interior just because they're built so solid with that steel frame. So that's where like we tell people $15,000 to $18,000 estimate for the extra cost. And then the homes range from anywhere from like $79,000 to $99,000.
Wow. Okay. That's not bad at all.
All in cost, like even on the highest end, you're in it like $120,000.
And what's the typical size of those?
Yeah, the size, we have a studio and then all the way up to a 2-bedroom. So it's like 300 to 550 square feet.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So normal, I mean, and really like most people are like, oh, it's so small, 550 square feet. think like a decent sized big hotel room. That's about the same size as what we build.
Gotcha.
Really like it's for younger families and people who are retired and things like that. Like it's not for a family of 6, right?
Yeah.
But these homes are built for a need, especially for the people that are affected most by affordability, which is the younger generation, my generation, and then the older generation that's trying to downsize from their homes and pay something off so they don't have a mortgage anymore.
Yes.
So
yeah, because it just makes life more affordable.
So it's been fun. It's been fun to talk to a lot of people and figure out how people are using them here in the state of Utah.
Yeah. Well, what are some of the creative ways people are using them?
Detached ADU. I've had people call them granny pods. Like my grandma's going in the backyard,
nice.
and so a granny pod. So they're putting mother-in-law in the back of the yard. A lot of recreational, which is pretty cool. Like people are like, oh, I own some land out in Indianola or Panguitch, Utah, and I want to put one out there. One in Idaho. We just shipped one off to Montana last weekend. And then a lot of like micro resort ideas, right? Like where I want to put like 10 of these.
Dude, my friend Dave talks about that all the time.
It is everybody's dream.
Let's put 10 of these out in Airbnb.
Everybody's dream, which is pretty cool.
And yeah.
So a lot of people have that idea and want to do it, but like those, if people actually pull the trigger on like a micro resort, those kill. Like as workforce housing, like if there's an area like Delta, Utah, where they're doing a data center, it's an awesome spot to do like midterm rentals, something like this. There's a lot of really cool opportunities and people are really willing to pull the trigger on it. They could make a ton of money doing like a micro resort style. So.
Well, and they could be portable again, or you generally not going to advise that?
Most of them, no. If you're going to fix it to a foundation and you want all the benefits of real estate of having like a permanent dwelling, I would fix it to a foundation and I wouldn't worry about it. That being said, like you can do a park model version, which is essentially registered as like a tiny home on wheels. And you can do that. And that's another one for tax purposes. A lot of people do a tiny home on wheels. So, but if I was looking to get all the benefits of owning real estate and the appreciation of putting and actually getting the value of putting a home on a property, I would fix it to a concrete foundation. So
that makes sense.
This episode is brought to you by Prime 90, and this one hits close to home with our furry friends. When my wife and I rescued our cat Mischief about 5 years ago, she weighed under 5 pounds, which is considered undernourished and struggling for an adult cat. We used Prime 90 to help her rebuild strength and get to a healthy weight. Today, she's 20 years old and is still doing well. She's even lived 3 years with stage 3 kidney disease, and we still use Prime 90's Nutramax supplement with her food to help support her health. Prime 90 makes supplements for pets, horses, and people. I personally use the complete mineral supplement for sleep, energy, and after gym recovery. Their bottles come with a 3-month supply, not a typical 30-day format that most companies use. I've trusted them for nearly a decade. So go to Prime90, that's prime90.com, and use code GINGER15 for 15% off. And try it with their 30-day money-back guarantee. My favorites are linked in the description.
I was looking at buying a property in Pleasant Grove, and I found out all these weird rules like, oh, if you have an ADU, you can't rent it out unless it's owner-occupied to more than one party. So like if I moved out later, I couldn't rent the top and the bottom to different people. Like, are there any weird rules you have to be aware with like a detached ADU, or do you just need to check with your city on each one?
You just need to check with your city on what their regulations look like. Pretty sure the whole state of Utah, you have to have a detached or an attached internal ADU. You have to be owner occupied. So one of the units has to be owner occupied, which means you could either live in the detached ADU or your basement or the main level of the home. Gotcha. That is one thing that like a lot of people will run into as you're talking to cities. But why I like that is it's a really easy way for a lot of people that maybe wouldn't be interested in investing in real estate, buying a rental property or going all in. And I want to buy a townhome to rent out and try to get all the tax benefits that way. It's a really easy way for people to be able to get into real estate on their primary residence.
On their property. Yeah, you don't need to worry about buying a second home.
You don't need to buy a second home. And what I love about these is they meet the 1% rule in real estate. I'm sure you're familiar with the 1% rule. Essentially, the price of the home, let's say you buy the home and you do all the upgrades and everything, and you buy our mid-size model and you're in it $103,000 to $105,000. On average, our units in Utah County, Salt Lake County are renting out for like $1,200 to $1,300 a month.
Which is about 1%.
Which is just more than 1%. So it's pretty cool that you can get into real estate, and it's one of the easiest investments to make and put onto your property, a primary residence, and be able to become a real estate investor by adding some value to your property and renting it out. So, and they don't have to live within the walls of your home. I hear that a lot of, I don't want to rent out my basement because you smell them, you hear them, you get all the experiences of having renters, but by having something detached, it gives you a little bit more space to have for their renters. So
Yeah. Would it be possible to like live in the ADU and then rent out the primary residence?
100%.
At the same, like that might be a really great option for like a younger couple if they could afford a property, or they're like, hey, this is outside of our price range. Oh, well, now if we can qualify the primary property as I mean, it would probably have to already be there if they're buying it. But
Yep. Yeah. I would say that is super, super popular. And that's what I'm going to end up doing on like the next home that I build. I'm going to live in the detached ADU, and I'm going to rent out maybe the basement of my house or something like that while we build our dream house. So there's a lot of cool opportunities with them. And I think a lot of people are catching on to it, especially here in Utah, where we're running out of space in places like Utah and Salt Lake County. And a lot of people are wanting to leave Utah. Even Governor Cox made a comment about this. His son showed him a property. I can't remember if it was Indiana or somewhere in the Midwest. But his son showed him a property out there and was like, Dad, like I can get a 4,000 square foot house for $320,000.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And he's like, well, I want my kids to stay here in Utah. And I think all of us want our families to stay here in Utah locally, but it's just getting so hard. And so we think that this provides a really cool solution for a lot of families that are cool living multi-generational families on the same property and utilizing the space that they have.
It's becoming more popular.
So
both for affordability, but also people, I think, are liking their families more, and they're realizing the importance of having like a close infrastructure. People are catching on to like, wait a second, I don't want to kick my kids out the day that maybe you do.
But a lot of people don't anymore.
Yeah, a lot of people don't want to kick their kids out the day they're like, wait a second. Oh, if we can have a way to extend, hey, while they're in college, they can be if they're away at college, but like, you know, they get back and they can stay living with us. Like, I don't know. It's becoming more common. People are realizing the
value of family, having family around.
Yeah, it's good for your mind. It's good for your mental health. It's good for keeping those things going that are important to you and to your family, right? Like yeah.
I think a lot of families are like that. And I think a lot of families aren't, hey, I'll see you at Christmas and at Easter and at Thanksgiving anymore. I think a lot of families are more close knit, which I think is a good thing. I think families should be that way. And a lot of other cultures are like that. I think even specifically one that is really popular multi-generational living here in Utah is the Hispanic families. I think a lot of Hispanic culture is more family centered in that way. And it's really common for Hispanic families to be living under one roof, which I love. I think that's really cool that they have that mindset of we all come together and we support each other, and they like being around each other too. Yeah. So, and it's just easier living that way where not everybody's stretching their means to be able to afford separate homes. So.
Yeah. It makes it more affordable for sure, especially if you're all contributing to the different bills, right? Like electricity doesn't scale too much when you have 6 people versus having 12 people. Like
right.
I mean, obviously it is more expensive, but it's not as expensive as having 2 different houses.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
Like
so no, it's really exciting. So we're excited about the project, and we think it solves a lot of issues and also provides a lot of opportunities for families that want to do living like that.
Yeah, that's cool. I just can't help but think about all the crazy ways you can use it. Do you know how much land you need to be able to do it? Because I see some of the new builds, like, you know, they're building a house on like 0.17 acres, and there might not be enough space for it. Like, you know how much space you really need?
Yeah. For example, like Spanish Fork City is a perfect example. Spanish Fork City has the same laws for a detached or an internal ADU. For spacing on a property. So you have to have a 6,000 square foot lot, which I believe is like 0.137 acres.
Oh, that's not bad at all.
To be able to do a detached ADU on a property in Spanish Fork. So 6,000 square foot lot in Spanish Fork, like shout out to Spanish Fork. They figured it out and created laws that make it really easy for people to have this multi-generational and affordable living. And so even 0.137 acres in Spanish Fork, as long as you abide by the setbacks on the property, you can do a detached ADU. So
yeah, wow.
Really, really cool. And shout out to Spanish Fork again for making laws like that.
Hey, we love Spanish Fork. It's where I live.
I live there too. So
awesome.
A lot more families need to take advantage of that opportunity that's in Spanish Fork and surrounding cities too. There's a lot of them around Spanish Fork that are adopting the same laws.
There's adopting similar laws. Okay, not that it really matters, but what are some of the cities that are really harsh on ADUs?
Holy cow,
don't
dude.
like you.
Orem, Utah.
Yeah.
Suncrest.
I figured Orem was going to be one of them.
Orem, Utah. I don't know what it is with Orem. Like they just do not like detached buildings. Yeah. And I don't know if they're trying to keep it like with the university there. I think if they were to loosen up on their ADU laws, you'd see a huge boom of ADUs in Orem City.
That's probably why they're like, oh, we don't want more parking problems. There's already too many cars.
Oh yeah. Road. So I'm interested to see what they're going to do there. But I would say Orem City is probably one of the tougher ones to work with.
Which is weird because most of Orem's city council is real estate agents.
Which is crazy.
It's crazy that
crazy that it hasn't been adopted yet.
Yeah, kind of weird. I wonder if there's enough pushback from citizens, because usually city councils kind of do whatever they want. No knock on city councils. Write to your city councilors and tell them what you think. But
they kind of just do whatever they want.
Yeah. Well, so I grew up in Vineyard.
Oh,
And
cool.
you know, all of those student housing that got built over the last 10 years, those big, 4-story buildings with tons. And we needed the housing, but a bunch of these, I don't know exactly what the rules are, so don't quote me on this, but there's something like you need to have 1.8 or 2.2 parking spaces per so many expected occupancies or whatever, right? Like there's a certain rule on it, and they were able to get a favor or get an exception to that rule for building a couple of those buildings to be like
some
half as
conditional
much.
use permit or whatever they had to do.
Something silly, and it's like, oh, well, most of these kids, because we're so close to the train station,
are just going to walk or public transit or whatever.
I knew kids in college that would literally live in their car during the semester because they would rather be portable than not, right? Especially because, right, we're Utah, we're technically Midwest, right? Like it's not close to get places. Like getting to Salt Lake City, taking the bus system, if you're in Spanish Fork, is hard.
Rough.
There's also not many buses. Like some buses, there's bus stops that like the buses only go to twice a day.
Yeah.
So like if you miss it, you're walking an extra 7 miles to get home, right?
Yeah.
It's not we're not New York, we're not Los Angeles, we're not Miami, right?
We don't have the infrastructure built out.
Yeah, we don't have that dense of housing. Like we might be running out of space, but it's not.
One that's actually been super surprising recently is people are surprised how lenient Salt Lake City is actually.
Oh.
Salt Lake City has passed a bunch of laws recently that are super favorable towards detached ADUs. And a lot of people would think the opposite, right? Salt Lake City, you're the main hub of Utah. You'd think it'd be super stringent on a lot of the laws for detached ADUs and internal ADUs. And it's actually the opposite. Super friendly. So it's kind of funny. Orem needs to jump on the train a little bit. I'll shout out to Orem a little bit. Just jump on the Salt Lake train and jump on the Spanish Fork train because there's a lot more friendlier cities out there for detached spaces.
Yeah. Wow. It's fascinating. What would be the most ideal? Well, we've already talked about it a little bit, like ideal candidates for ADUs, right? Like you got to have the 0.137. You got to have the proper spacing. Obviously, hookups are already there. We've talked about that. That would be a thing.
I would say ideal client is probably two things. Somebody who is, I guess, in a space, maybe like 30 to 50 years old, and you know somebody that is either in the younger generation or in the older generation that is getting to a point where it's really hard for them to live here in the state of Utah because of affordability. There's a lot of people in the older generation that are on fixed income. There's a lot of younger people in the generation that are going to school, trying to get their feet under them. And if you know somebody like that and you think that they could benefit by having a space on your property, you can split the payments. You can work it out however you want for the detached space. But that's been, I would say, 80% of our clientele is people that have kids or a child with special needs that they want to have on their property, but semi-independent. So they have their own space, but they're close enough to family, or mother-in-law that is now a widow. I think that that's, I would say, our ideal client right now. And I think even too, what makes me tick is helping families like that are in need, and allowing young families to stay here in the state of Utah, and allowing mother-in-law that maybe can't afford to go and rent a condo in Vineyard anymore, and she needs to live on parents' property in Spanish Fork or in Mapleton or something like that. So that's what I would say like the ideal person would be. Or just the investor that's scared of jumping into the real estate market, and the real estate market's a little uncertain right now with all the things that are going on, and we don't need to jump into that because that would be a whole podcast
episode
talking about the current events that are going on in the world. But somebody that is maybe not as confident in jumping into the real estate market fully, but they really have an interest in investing in real estate. We have a couple of really cool lender partners that could help you get into an investment property on your current property, and really add value to your property, number one, build in equity, and then also be able to cash flow for month one and cash flow anywhere from $500 to $700 a month on your property that you already own.
With like getting an investor, is a loan on one of these going to be different than a normal home loan, right? Because it's a normal property, like it's just a normal loan. If
it's a detached ADU, we have a really cool partner, Renify. It's a partner, John Hawes at Renify Home Loans, and he has a product that's a renovation HELOC. So basically what he's able to do is give you a HELOC on your property based on the future value of your property and how much equity this house is going to add to your property. So even if you're in a spot where you're like, I don't have $110K that I can pull out in equity, that's okay. He's able to look at the ARV, or after repair value of your property, based on what your property is going to be worth after we install this home. And you can borrow from that equity. So you're basically borrowing against the asset you're installing on your property. And so that's kind of the ADU version of it. And then you can get a one-time closed construction loan. Straightforward, super simple, same as if you were to build a normal single family home on a property, and you can do it that way and finance land with the home.
Oh, cool. That's
So,
if you're doing the buying land route.
if you're doing the buying land route and you're going to just put this as your primary residence.
I just think that'd be fascinating. Like I am enveloped with the idea of because that's my friend Dave talks to me about all the time. I've already mentioned it before. It's just, oh, let's buy 10 little homes and put them on a land, and like that'd be cool to do, And I'm like, yeah, it would be cool to do, but like figuring it out, like it sounds doable with this.
It does.
It really does.
It does.
Like, especially if like cost is about a average $100,000. Okay, cool. You get 10 of these, $1 million. That's not too crazy on a loan, right? I mean, you can buy houses in Utah that are over that. Not even close. And then it's like, okay, well, what sort of turnover do you need? Like you could figure the math out on that quickly. It's like, how many rentals do I need to do? And then you just put together a website and you advertise and you're like, hey, this is gonna be used for scout groups. This is gonna be used for church groups. This is gonna be used for, like I'm constantly seeing in Connect Utah, big business Facebook group.
I'm blocked from there, by the way, but we'll talk about that later.
Oh my gosh.
I didn't do anything. I really didn't do anything super
Tanner.
crazy. Like I just posted in there. We'll talk about it later. Connect Utah. I love Connect Utah though.
Yeah, I love Connect Utah. I actually got in trouble once because I used voice to text and it said don't use someone instead of, I said like I recommend to use, and it said don't use.
Oh, nice.
And it's like you're not supposed to write like talk crap on other people. And so I got a message from one of the admins like, we deleted your comment, blah blah blah. And I'm like, no, I meant to say this. And like, okay, you can go and say it again. I'm like, yeah, definitely. So
yeah, that's great.
They really care about.
I forgot to put my business in one of my posts, and they said it was like some sort of false advertising. And I tried to talk to him, and then I ended up getting blocked from the group. So ended up not working out. But shout out Connect Utah. It's a great platform.
Great platform.
Sorry, keep going.
What was I saying about Connect Utah?
Some of the people asking about scouting. And
I see people all the time. They'll be like, hey, we're hosting a wellness retreat for 10 couples. Oh, hey, we're doing a therapy group for someone, and we need a place that's pet friendly. I'm like, okay, if you plop somewhere that's within an hour of Utah County, I'm sure you could.
You're going to get booked out. Yeah, you're going to get booked out. And even too, so this is like something that's coming in the future. So don't quote me on this because we're working on it right now. But finding,
we can bleep it from the episode.
Yeah,
just beep.
Like a long bleep, maybe like a 30-second bleep. But we're trying to find land essentially to develop right now, where we can parcel off separate pieces of land with the home on it, so individuals can come in and even buy their own piece of land with the home already on it, get a mortgage on it, and be able to find the most affordable housing and truly the most affordable housing in the state of Utah. And we're pretty confident we can be in the 200,000 mark for a home in the state of Utah, which is unheard of unless you're buying like some 70-year-old condo in Payson, Utah, right? So,
yeah. But the problem with that, see, the reason people are going to hear that and it's like, that's just a mobile home park. No, it's absolutely not. The reason it's different is you own the land. I know people that they're like, sweet, I bought a manufactured home on a mobile home park and it was only $100,000. Okay, but they've got lot rent that's $800
a month. $800
I know some places in Salt Lake City where the lot rent on some of these old places that they're eventually going to be teared down. They're going to build high-rise apartments.
For sure.
Like, it's over $1,000 a month lot rent.
Just to have your property there. Just to have your home there.
Yeah. Just to have the home that you own on someone else's land. It's like,
and I love that you clarified that.
So much better than any mobile home park in the entire state because you will own the land.
And what I love about
HOA free,
the clarity there, and I would love to be HOA free and people be able to do it. I'll see, and really, it would just depend on what the city wants to have because at the end of the day, I know that they wouldn't want it to have it be like a mobile home park, and so we would do some amenities. We would do maybe like a pickleball court, or we would do like a pool or something in there and make it really, really nice. And I think the city would probably want it to be managed by an HOA so that it stays really nice and the landscaping is maintained and everything too. I'm an anti-HOA guy.
I hate HOAs, but I've only ever bought properties in HOAs because that's what's affordable in Utah.
Me too. And so that's where if I could figure out a way to have it not be in an HOA, I think that would work. But also my other thing too, and maybe this is like just my dream is not allowing investors to come in and buy the properties, but I would love to focus that on first-time home buyers.
Yeah.
It's really hard. And I know this is a big thing nationwide that they're trying to stop the institutional investors of coming in and buying up all these properties.
You can have rules against it.
And in HOA, we could have rules against it where maybe like 1 out of every 10 homes can be owned by an investor or something like that. And so that's why I also like the HOA side of it is we can have rules in the HOA that say there's only these 2 homes that can be bought by investors in the whole community.
Oh, have specific lots.
So something like that, right?
So that's also helpful because that will also because most people live in a home for 5 to 7 years. It's usually less than that before they move, especially if it's a first time home and they're using that equity by the next property.
Yeah.
I feel like forcing it to be owner occupied right? If you're able to enforce that, will help keep the cost down.
Yeah, I think so too.
Right? Like,
I think so
if you force
too.
it, because right, like here's what I've done, right? People call it the house hacking or Burr method or whatever, right?
Yeah.
It's like I bought a property, I moved the other one, I'm just like, I can hold on to the other one, I'm going to do that. Move, and I'm like, I'll just hold on to the other one, I'll do it, right? And you just kind of get this string of houses you own, and it's like, oh, well, if you force the turnover, I don't know. I feel like more turnover will force the price to be a little. I don't know why that mathematically makes sense, but I feel like that makes sense from an economics perspective.
I think just to use it as an avenue, right? I don't think it's anybody's forever home. And that's what we're trying to solve is like, I think a lot of people too, when they think about buying their first home, they want it to be like we got to save up tons of money because we want to buy that single family house in Lehigh, Utah. And it's $750,000 right now. So they're just saving up for that. But what I think people could figure out and could come to an understanding of is buy one of these homes, live in it for 3 years, build up enough equity in the property that you're able to sell and move on and go and find something else. And maybe people stay in it for a long time just because of the lifestyle too, right? Like the ease of living in one of these communities would be really cool. And so that's something that's coming in the future that hopefully people can stay posted and we can be able to work out. So
dude, I love the idea of that. Hey, if you need, I mean, you probably don't, but I know a few people that have been involved in land development and things like that. So I'd be happy to connect with people I know.
I would love to actually be connected to people like that.
Yeah. So. Well, I have a friend that he did that all through high school growing up. And he's in the middle of like a 60, 70 unit build, his first like build as doing it on his own, right? Not doing it like with his father, not doing doing it all in Springville. And
good for him.
He's crushing it. Yeah. Brandon Alders. Shout out Brandon.
Alders.
I'll connect you with him. I went to high school with him. He's awesome. He's super cool.
Please
guy.
put me in a group chat with him. I'd love to be connected.
Yeah. And then as well, right. I have a friend that her and her family have done custom homes, like smaller condos and stuff like that, but they'll do like, 24, 32 units at a time, like small, like they have one in Linden right now. In fact, I had her on recently. I'm Jenna White. Yeah. She's awesome too. And that's one of the things I love. Selfishly, I love doing this podcast because I get to connect with cool people that do cool things and I get to help connect other people. And like I was saying at the very beginning, I love that I just build an audience, share value, tell people, connect them with cool ideas and cool financial tactics that they can use. And eventually I'll be like, hey, I'm doing this now. I'm doing financial planning now. Hey, I talk about life insurance and how much you need, like, cause I'm passionate about that as a insurer. I don't sell life insurance in the future. If I do, right. Like there'll be an audience there. And I just think connecting people it just helps, right? All it can do is help because, sorry, I have ADHD, so I kind of like go all over the place. Right. I was thinking earlier, right? I said one of the walls people have to like doing an ADU is they don't have, what about installation? What about this? And that's why I asked about that. I'm like, if you're able to help with that makes it easier. It's like, if you're trying to figure out a land deal and how to structure that and do that. Well, I know someone that's what him and his dad did. They did land deals and developed it and sold it to realtors and or the people that actually built the properties on the land. It's like all that stuff is super cool. And once you get to it, or construction company, it might not be as vital when you're building manufactured homes to move to it, but it's like, what about prepping the land? Hey, I have a guy that I do insurance for that just bought a landscaping company that he worked in for 10 years. Well, not landscaping, but they do site prep and all that and like dirt compaction and, cool. Make sure it follows all the real estate rules. And I'm like, I don't know how any of it works. I just know cool people that do cool stuff. So,
hey, this episode is brought to you by the Financial Ginger. That's me. I'm a Utah-based independent insurance broker specializing in auto and home insurance. Because I work with nearly 25 different insurance companies, I'm not locked into just one rate sheet. So I work for you, not the insurance company. We still believe in customer service. So during normal business hours, a real human answers the phone every single time. If you want a second opinion on your insurance, email jacobinsuresutah@gmail.com or call and text 801-216-8444. Again, 801-216-8444. Now back to the episode.
No, I love that. I'm a huge fan. I'm a huge fan of networking, and your net worth is your network, right? Yeah. And I think, that's like the cliche phrase, but I really do enjoy getting to know people, even too. Like, I think a lot of people have different perspectives, and I've learned a lot from different people. And that's one thing from this business as well, is because we're not new, right? We've been around for about a year, and have sold tons of homes and are
still got that fresh baby
a ton of homes.
Though.
Yeah, we do. No, we do really but I've loved learning from other people and getting ideas from other people, because there's been people that have come and shared their ideas with me and my team, and that have changed the way that we market, that have changed the way we build homes, and changed the way that we ship homes. And so it's been really cool, the people that we've been connected to, and forever grateful for the advice I think everybody, when you're starting a new business, wants to give you advice, and you need to take it with a grain of salt. But there has been a lot of helpful things that have helped, but it's because of people, because we've met really, really cool people that have been able to offer us a lot of help. So
yeah, cool. That'll be exciting. Well, I feel like we're kind of wrapping up. I feel like I should have asked you more questions. I don't know. What else should I be asking about these ADUs? I feel like it's been, the veil has been taken away from my eyes, and I understand so much more about the possibilities.
No, I love the questions that you ask, because it makes it simple. I mean, you could dive into the weeds of local regulations, and you could dive into manufacturing and things like that. They are semi-custom, which is one thing I get asked all the time.
Oh, cool.
Exterior colors typically match the existing home as if it's an ADU, but you can totally choose whatever color you want exterior. We use all bare exterior paints. And then interior wise, choose your flooring and your cabinet colors and your hardware colors. Like there's a lot of really cool countertops is all quartz.
All quartz.
We run with quartz. And so, but then even too, like our fireplace insert is included in the cost.
Oh, cool.
What the price that you see there, and maybe this is something to clarify as well, that $89,000 for our mid-size model, or 79 or 99 or whatever it is for the larger model, includes your shipping, includes your kitchen appliances. Like we want to deliver a turnkey home. And so that includes shipping anywhere in the state of Utah or anywhere south of Utah, between Texas and Utah. And we try to include everything in that price.
To Idaho and Montana. So
yeah,
there probably was like a small additional
cost for stuff like that. And so, but we try to create a turnkey product so you can do all the site prep, and then by the time the home is delivered, you could have a renter lined up, ready to go into the property. Or you could have mother-in-law ready to go. So really what we've tried to do is get rid of a lot of the headaches with the construction process. You can be doing all your site prep and running your utilities and everything during the process while the home is being built. And typically you have to wait until your concrete is poured and your utilities are run to even start framing the house. And we're able to do that off-site, which is really nice.
It's done.
So it takes about 10 to 12 weeks to be able to have a fully finished detached ADU on your property that's turnkey and ready to rent, which is really nice.
Yeah.
So,
well, and it definitely helps because, right, like you're saying, like you've worked in loans, you've worked for home warranties, right? Like you did real estate. Like you can help navigate those problems people are going to run into, which is why it's not important. I always tell people when they're talking to me, like I had a realtor on and they're like, I was explaining how you need different insurance if it's owner occupied versus a rental property, right? Like you know that. And he's like, oh, I need to remember that for next time. I'm like, no, you don't.
Just call me.
You know, exactly.
Just call me.
You don't need to remember this stuff, right? Like it's useful to know, it's useful to get the idea flowing. And it's like, okay, once you have the dream of what you're going to do, right? Like if you're listening to this and you're like, oh, that's something I want to do. Okay, well, look in the description. We're going to have Tanner's contact information in there. Call them up.
Call me.
Can I do this?
Yeah.
Right? Like, can I do this? You'll help them figure out, oh, you need to contact this, person at your city to see if you can do it. Or
let's talk to my general contractor and see if you need to do some excavation or whatever it is, right? Like there's so many solutions, then you can figure out
what it is. That's the key. Is it's like you don't need to do it all yourself. You need to connect with people that can help you get there, and then take violent, aggressive action towards succeeding.
And that's why I love even too, you're like, I'll connect you with my land development guy.
Yeah.
Cause that's my next step. That's really our next step. We've sold a bunch of homes to people who are putting them on their own properties. And now I think is the time for us to start looking for our own projects to do and be able to build things. So I think it helps too. And it makes the process a lot easier where people don't have to go through the whole build process. Like we're going to build the homes as spec homes and sell them.
Yeah.
And
and coming with appliances and all, like it's just so much less headache you have to worry about.
Yep.
And knowing the builders and all that, where it's like, oh, here's how the utility hookups work. Here's how that works. Like
we had first time home buyers in mind, right? With like starting some of these developments because and even to like the product that we sell, because a lot of times like people are spending almost every dime that they have to get into a house with a down payment and closing costs, right? And so to get into a house, and even this is why you had Ryan Kiesel just barely on the podcast as well. But even just like the home warranty side of it, I love what they're doing because it saves clients time and money where they get into a house. And that's why I love new construction as well. We're building new homes. And so you're hopefully not going to have an issue with your fridge or your dishwasher or your HVAC or anything like that. But heaven forbid something like that happen. I love even like that side of it, what they're doing on the home warranty side, where if you did have an issue or something broke, like they come in and take care of it for you. So that's what we had in mind as well with building this product is includes appliances. So when you buy the house, you don't have to go out and buy $2,000 worth of appliances. And it comes with the HVAC system, a brand new HVAC system. So it's going to run for 25 years and you're not going to have any issues. So we try to get rid of a lot of those barriers to entry. So somebody that's a first time home buyer that just barely saved up enough money for a 5% down payment can get into a house.
Yeah. Well, and 5% is a lot less when you're buying $100,000.
It is.
Yeah. Then all you need is the land. So yeah. Okay. One last thing I want to bring up and talk about for just a minute here is the insurance side of these ADUs. Just a few notes on it because same thing, right? You don't even remember this. Just call me when it happens. This is my little plug for Financial Ginger for my auto and home insurance. When you build an ADU on your property or add a ADU, your home insurance has coverage A, which is for your structure. And then most home insurance policies automatically include 10% of that for coverage B, other structures. So right, if you have a $600,000 home, you'll have $60,000 for other structures. Obviously, the problem here is if you bought a $100,000 ADU, that's not enough coverage. So when you do something like this, I always recommend touch base with your agent or ask me for a quote. My links are in the description too. And just make sure you have enough coverage. I have all the time people like they have because this isn't a new concept to have an ADU. I have a lot of people that they have like an old cinder block garage that they've converted into an ADU and it's got electrical and all that. And it's like, oh yeah, this is worth, especially down in Provo near BYU where you see these places where there's 2 houses or sometimes 3 houses on the same property. And it's like, oh, well, I need this much coverage for all 3. And I'm like, okay, well, one of them is the primary unit. That's coverage A. The other 2 you need coverage B for. So I'll see a property where it's got $300,000 of coverage A for the primary structure, and then it's got $600,000 of coverage for the other structures because there's two
separate buildings that are on the property.
There. So just make sure you're insuring it right. Talk to your insurance agent, just so that because it's not a matter of if, it's when. Eventually, there's going to be a house fire, there's going to be a windstorm, or something's going to happen. You're properly insured for that event to have, which
I love it.
Is yeah. That's why
few and far between, but when it does happen, like if you don't have the right coverage, it is such a nightmare to go through that whole process. So I love that you brought that up too.
Yeah. Well, same thing, home warranties too, right? Some people will be shocked when they're like, wait, my fridge died. My home insurance doesn't cover that. It's like, nope, that's what home warranties are for. Warranties can deal with things that are guaranteed to happen. Home insurance deals with things that are not guaranteed.
That you hope don't happen on your house, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like your HVAC's going to eventually go out. Home insurance doesn't repair it. Anyways, go listen to that episode.
That's coming. Yeah, that's coming. So
yeah. Well, cool. This has been great. I really appreciate you. If someone, obviously we've talked about this, I'll put all the links in the description, but quick plug for yourself. If people listen to this and they're like, I need to talk to Tanner. How can they find you? You can follow me, Tanner Tiny Homes or Summit Luxury Dwellings on Instagram and Facebook. And then call me. Just call me 385-208-894. You can throw that in the comments below. Yep, so. I'll put it in the comments. I'll put it in the links and all that. Cool. I love it. Tanner Tiny was. I actually was looking at that this morning and I was like, dude, I saw your most recent post where it was like, when the house arrives like an Amazon delivery. Dude, that's my one post. Like an Amazon delivery truck, but it's like, nope, that's the tiny house. That's my one post. And this is my plug for Instagram. If you haven't tried trial reels, I don't know why. Like I had never been doing that in the past. I've never done it. But trial reels, I posted the same video twice, one on my profile and one as a trial reel. And the trial reel is at, let me just refresh this real fast, is at 7,600 views. And my post that I did to my account is at 2,500 views. Whoa. So trial reels pushes it first, not to your followers, but to people who might be interested in your topic or what you posted about just based on the algorithm on Instagram. And so I'm going to be posting more trial reels. So that was my first one that I'd done. And I wanted to post like an A/B test. This one's posted on my profile. This one's a trial reel. And my trial reel, I think I got like 11 followers from that post just overnight. Wow. And 7,600 views. So it's, I think that's the move for me. That's the move. Yeah. Because you do social media management too. Which obviously that's a whole different thing. We'll connect. I'll connect you with Brandon. We'll talk more. This is great. Thanks for being on. Okay. Thank you.